Ba-da-ra-pum-pum-pum. You understand? Check it out. Massive on the ready. Massive on the ready. We are them no postman, so we are the postman. We them no not postman. Hook up with our postman. Man a postman. When I'm not the postman, what we are not postman. That's what I them a postman. When I say go postman, man you lose your postman. You want to be postman, don't you want a postman. Get up on your postman, protect on your postman. Give up on your postman. Let me hear this song. Tell your body, man. Welcome to the body, man. See you in my ear, man. One like them not here, man. Why you never roll, man? Why you never roll, man? Why you never roll, man? Why you never roll, man?
What's up, y'all? I'm not gonna get copyrighted for that music because that's my music. All the music you see on my channel is my music. And you know what pissed me off the other day is TikTok copyright striked me for my own music. For my own music. Sound like Bill Burr right now. They copyright striking me for my own music. What gives? You know, it's crazy, man. Like, all the work I do art. You know what, by the way, let me just show y'all. Before we even get into the video. All the work that I do. The thing I fear the most is somebody taking what I do and changing it or stealing what I do and pretending as if they made it. How you gonna strike me on TikTok for my own music? Somebody let me know how that works. Now that I got this up here, let me tell you about Wags the Warrior of Truth. Ding! Wags the Warrior of Truth is a comic book I created. It's a Christian comic book about masculinity. Now, the thing I want to warn people about is it starts off like a kid comic book, but it gets into more adult, mature subjects, hence the mature warning on the next episode. If you want to read this comic book, you can read it fully on Webtoons right now. Or you can go to the website that I have, and I'll put in the description, where you can buy the comic book outright and get a physical copy. Let me get the physical. You can get the physical copy on the website. I got a couple people at my church who have supported me, a couple people across the nation who have supported me, but overall, I know I'm not going to get a lot of support for a topic like this in a world full of weak men that we live in now. So I'm not going to front and act like I'm going to be a millionaire for my comic book like Ethan, the dude who created Cyberfrog or anything like that. I'm probably not going to make it, but I'm still going to do it because it's what God put on my heart. And one of my passions is to draw and create art and tell stories. So I'm going to keep doing it. Now, what we want to talk about today is the end of masculinity as we know it. The end of masculinity is all men's fault. It's men's fault because we bear the responsibility for the world we live in. We are the leaders of society. So when we think, or when we try to blame women, we got to ask, who let it get this far? Who let these feminist ideas take hold before we stopped and put an end to it? You know, it's kind of like when you have a child who's out of control and you look at the parents and the parents are like, I just can't control it. That's your job. It's our job to maintain society. We let it get out of control. And all we can do now is vow that we won't let it get any further in our own house. Let's get right into the video. And you know we're going to be stopping it, discussing it, and teaching the truth.
In their views, if not support. So was Me Too an overdue reckoning? Or has it become a damaging battle in a raging culture war? Isabel still with me, plus political journalist Ava Santino, conservative commentator, a young man who agrees with Peterson and Andrew Tate, Connor Thomason. Connor, welcome to the show. I'll start with you. I found it very interesting interviewing Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate, both very controversial characters in different ways, both positioned as a kind of kings of toxic masculinity. I certainly didn't think Jordan Peterson was that. And when it came to Andrew Tate, I couldn't really conclude after 90 minutes of grilling him. I gave him quite a hard time. I couldn't really conclude what he had done that was so bad that he had to be expunged from social media.
You sure could have fooled me, Piers, because during that interview, I did not like Pierce's approach. What he tries to do is the person he's debating against, he will often interrupt when he sees they're on a roll. He sees they're right about to make the punchline of a point, and what does he do? No, that's what he does. And I hate that tactic because it's very disingenuous to me. Let somebody make their best point and then defeat it with your logic if you really know what you're talking about. The problem is, Pierce is just like most liberals, and he's just like he's the forefront guy that the media pushes that tells you how you should think. And that kind of pisses me off because if you're going to invite somebody as interesting as Andrew Tate on, let him talk. Gosh darn it, nobody want to hear you, Piers. Nobody came to see you, Otis. Nobody cares what you think. No one cares what you... Doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you think, Piers. We want to hear Andrew Tate. And the thing about that interview I didn't like is when Andrew Tate was talking, not only would he interrupt him, but he would put words in his mouth. So this is what you mean, huh? So you're saying this. So misogyny is disagreeing with anything that women do. Like, what? The audacity of having somebody who makes your platform famous. You know, when famous people come onto your platform, yes, you build it up. Yes, you got like a network. Yes, you're frontline in media. But guess what? Andrew Tate was the most popular person Googled for the last 6 months. So when he came on your platform, he's doing you a favor. Because guess what? If you haven't checked, people don't trust the media that much anymore, Piers. And this is why. Because you try to manipulate the message. Rather than having a civilized debate, people often want to shut the other side up. So the audacity to say, well, we had a good conversation on whose show? Not the one I watched. I thought that debate, first of all, I thought Andrew Tate held his ground very well. And I thought he did very well and answered your questions. And I thought Pierce had several disingenuous debate tactics. That's my overall take of that.
Altogether. But it showed me the sensitivity around all this. And if any man now behaves in a way that looks like it's toxic masculinity, bang, they're expunged. True. Is in that process masculine?
Now he's trying to play devil's advocate and be on the other side. You can't play both sides like that because people know you don't believe what you say. Like, first he was attacking Andrew Tate, saying that he was anti-female and misogynistic and all this crap. Now he since he got other guests on the panel, he wanna play the devil's advocate. Okay, I'll accept it because it makes an interesting conversation. But no one cares what you think, Piers.
Femininity itself getting expunged and demonized.
I would say so. I mean, I'm sure that you'll have this experience with your own relationships, Piers.
He kind of looked like Sharon the rapper from King of the Dot for a second.
As in that women, if you say something controversial, whether it's something on the Peterson side of the spectrum or on the Tate side of the spectrum, a little bit more explosive or a little bit more academic, some women are very much drawn to a man who can be a bit more confrontational, say exactly what he thinks.
That's how all men should be. It ain't some women. Most women are drawn to that because that's the man that they know will protect them when it comes down to it. I don't hold my tongue about the things that I really care about my principles. My wife knows that. You can't just come in my house and say everything. Now, do I go and blab it all to everyone? Absolutely not. But what I'm telling you is that is what defines a man. Now, I'm sure he kind of would agree with that because he kind of is representing the right in this argument. But most people act like that's some type of characteristic that some men have. That only some men stand up for what they believe. All men should stand up for what they believe. Every last one. People say, well, some men are made to be leaders and some aren't. And some, that's not true. I debate this in my church. Well, some men are made to be leaders and some aren't. To certain positions, maybe you might be right. But every man is made to be a leader in his life. Every man is made to be a leader of his family. Every man is made to be a leader in the world when it comes to letting your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Every man has to be a leader in that aspect. That means if you are a Christian, you don't have a choice. If the crowd is going this way, you got to go that way, which means you have to be a leader. It don't matter what you built like or what's comfortable for you to do or your personality or your anxiety like Hunter Avalon. I don't care if you got to take some pills before you get out there and do what's right. As a Christian man, you do not have the option not to have leadership as a characteristic.
It's the verbal new version of what gladiators used to do in the arena way back.
Well, certainly, I think Ava and Isabel are laughing because they know that they're drawn to me in that way because of my combative nature. But
don't try to act like you tough, Piers. Shut up, man. You've been destroyed by pretty much every conservative that came on the platform. Remember what Ben Shapiro did to you? You ain't no gladiator, my dude.
Ava, you're smirking and laughing. I mean, there's a serious point here. A lot of young men feel they're getting disenfranchised by society. They're all being open.
Even her face already it drips with progressiveness.
They're demonized. That any attempt to be the traditional male figure is now being rubbished and called toxic.
Rubbish.
Well, I mean, if you really felt that and you really went out there and you were an alpha male, then you wouldn't be bothered about...
Wrong. I hate when people say that. If you were a strong man, you wouldn't be bothered by somebody bothering you. What makes me a strong man is that I speak my mind. And I don't bow down to anybody other than God. That's what makes me a strong man. There's situations in life where people are, well, you shouldn't be that bothered by it. Well, you don't tell me what I can be bothered by. Especially in my domain. If something affects me, you don't get to tell me. You don't get. I've had times where I was working and a little kid just continues to poke me or something like that because their parents haven't raised them with any respect. And then I would grab that kid's hand and say, "I'm asking you, can you come get your child because that kid is annoying me? They're misbehaving. Teach them some respect." Well, why should a little kid poking you bother you so much? It doesn't matter why. Just know that it is.
about a bunch of...
It's a dumb argument to make. If you were an alpha male, it shouldn't bother you. How would you know? You don't know what an alpha male feels. Stay in your place. Worry about your role. You wouldn't know. You haven't spent a day in the life of an alpha male or a man or a strong man, because I hate when people try to say he claimed himself to be an alpha male. I'm not claiming that, but I'm saying she doesn't know. She does not have any idea what it's like to be an alpha male. So how would you know what they're bothered by or what they should or shouldn't do?
Women telling you that you were...
Well, you wouldn't get cancelled, like Andrew Tate, if you get banned from...
I mean, he's hardly been cancelled. He was on your programme, which was...
He's hardly been cancelled. Yeah, well, either you're cancelled or you're not. Either they tried to cancel you or they didn't. Either they took your bank accounts down or they didn't. Either they took your YouTube down, your Instagram down, your Twitter down, or they didn't. Stop trying to downplay it, because guess what? The man's strong enough and he survived y'all little cancel crap. He survived it. Now y'all want to act like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Look, he's still out there. He's still out there despite the canceling, not because of it or not because it wasn't a big deal. They canceled him for no reason. You gonna try to downplay that? Yeah, we shot you, but you still survived. It was only .22 caliber. I mean, yeah, you got a hole in your body, but it wasn't through your heart. Ugh.
on national television.
But
So
it's the
that's
only
hardly a
platform actually he's
cancellation.
had for a long time, because all the social media companies banned him, literally banned him.
Pierce, you know, and you had a part in that. Your rhetoric had a part in that. Your rhetoric, when you were saying anything that talks negatively about liking young females. Remember when you said that to Andrew Tate? When you said saying anything about liking being more attracted to younger females is misogynistic, and you stood on that point. like an idiot because that was a stupid point. If your point and your logic was correct, I should be attracted to a 60-year-old the same way I'm attracted to a 25-year-old. You see how dumb that sounds? But you stood on that, and your rhetoric and your debate points are the same things they use to cancel him. Now, I'm not saying a debate is wrong and that he shouldn't have debated him. I'm saying the stupidity of your beliefs need to change from the inside out. Because maybe you might be smart enough to say having a healthy debate might be good for the culture or good for society, but it's a lot of you idiots running around here with blue hair and whatnot that will cancel somebody at the slightest drop of the hat that they say anything that they deem is against whatever speech they deem wrong at the time. And you play into that. And that's why people don't trust the media anymore.
He had his email gone, his Google gone, his Facebook gone.
You didn't stop it either. Nobody came out and said, hey, no, that's not wrong. Let's let this guy have a platform. Nobody came out and did that other than the people who were already on his side.
Went down like dominoes.
Well, he's still on there, very, very prolific on there. I can't move.
No, he's not. He's still on there. No, he's not. You're on it and you get to speak freely. He has to make fake accounts. He had to go and the amount of nightmarish. Imagine a nightmare of waking up and you can't access your own money. That's the fear they want you. And the reason why they do it to people like Andrew Tate, who are in the forefront of everything, is because they want to show you, the little man, you better not go against what they got to say. You better not say nothing. You better shut up and be happy with the pitiful life they allow you to have. Because if they can do it to Andrew Tate and he has millions, you better believe they can do it to you. And that's the point of them doing it, to scare you. And the point for you should be not to be scared, no matter what they do. Your principles are worth more than whatever society can take away from you.
For clips of
Yeah, but they're not generated by him now.
Well, but that's been for quite some time.
But should he
He's still
be
got
punished that way?
But
Ain't no buts. Just answer the question.
what is punished?
What is punished? Such disingenuous responses, because if it would have happened to a woman, right? Say there was a woman and she was touting feminism straight up, and all her YouTube, her Instagram, her Facebook was all about feminism, you know, fat acceptance, women being mistreated, and her everything got shut down. And they said, you know what? We don't like your speech anymore. What you're saying is dangerous. And we just took all our stuff away. And then when we say, when a bunch of band of women come together with picket signs outside saying that she was mistreated, we say, well, she wasn't punished. What is punished? What is punished? What if we said that? They would laugh at us. Or they would scream at us, knowing them.
It's punished.
Punish is where companies take a decision which, in my view, in this case, was perverse because they still allow, for example, the Ayatollah of Iran
Correct.
to have a Twitter account.
Yes.
So there's a...
They still allow that ugly chick who said she was going to cut off Donald Trump's head. Whatever her ugly little self is, she looked like her face is made of roast beef. And she's still on there. Made threats against an acting president at the time. Still up. She just got in trouble for something with Elon Musk. She's still on there. Ethan Klein. Doxing people. Doing all types of evil stuff. Saying he gonna bomb the NRA. Still on there.
There's no consistency here at all.
Well, but however, we love a bit of free market. I'm sure you do, judging by that suit, which is lovely. But you know, social media companies are private companies.
You're not
they can do whatever they can do.
I'll take
whatever
all the
they
objections
like.
I like.
Of course he will, yeah.
He's playing our game.
All right, Isabel.
But Ava, your point about, you know, if men were that alpha, then they wouldn't be that bothered by this, doesn't really help us when it comes to boys growing up. And that is one of my worries, that for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It was hard.
I agree they're terrified. I don't think being terrified should be the response. I understand what she's trying to say. But as men, we need to go and grasp back masculinity. Take it by the hand and bring it back. Don't be terrified. Demand that they change things. Demand it. The men need to stand up and stick together. And they need to say things like, we will shut this down. The more anti-male things you propagate, that you push out there, we will shut it down. We're not going to watch your stuff. We're not going to give money to anything that sponsors you. We're going to shut you down. But men don't stick together like that. They really don't. And it's actually kind of sad because it's like women definitely do. You can tell one girl that's 300 pounds that she's not attractive and you don't want to go out on a date with her. All of the women will come to her aid. She will create a GoFundMe and be a millionaire by tomorrow because women will donate. And that's the craziness of it. Men don't. Maybe we'll watch another video where I can kind of show this.
Hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
See, I
and
like
there's
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
As a
I think
mother
that
of a
men should
teenage
be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like
Really?
that
That's
terror.
I do.
What?
Malicious thing I've ever
That
heard.
is
I think that
awful.
men should be frightened
I think
to
you
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were-
not.
That is the point. You get what she's saying? She wants men to be scared in society. She doesn't care that other people have sons. She don't care that people are being falsely accused. She don't care that relationships are going down in a downward spiral. She don't care that marriage rates are dropping. She don't care about any of that. She wants men to be scared. Why? Because it gives the power to women. That's what this is about. And when you take away the power from men and give it to women, society is easily conquered because women are not made to be protectors and providers. And that shouldn't be offensive to say. And here's the thing. For any woman who says, I am meant to be a protector and a provider. I am meant to be in the male role. The male role is a social construct. Show me the man that you're protecting and providing for that you respect. Show me one. Show me the relationship, the marriage that you're in that lasted for more than 3 years with a man that you're protecting and providing for. And he does the nurturing and you respect him. And the world can see you respect him. Not just, I respect him. No, I'm talking about other people. Man, she really respect him. He stays at home and he cleans with his little Swiffer jet mop. And she just respects the heck out of that guy. Man, she loves him. No, you won't see it.
Not
If
comfortable
you were,
with.
but we're talking about
Yeah, but
teenage
we're not talking
years,
about. We're
children.
not talking about.
We're talking
yeah, but
about
it's an
young
interesting thing
children.
that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too. That is that's to me toxic femininity.
It is.
That is
Absolutely. I think that I don't like even the word toxic. I've talked about this before. People overuse it. And they say stupid things like, I stopped the relationship with him because he was toxic. And come to find out that very person was abusive. That very person was cheating, yet calling the other person toxic. It's stupid. And here's the problem. I don't think we need toxic masculinity terms or toxic femininity terms. Males do bad things. Females do bad things. People do bad things. People are stupid. It's not just males do evil, but females, they do less evil. No. Females do more evil than males. No. We all have a propensity to do evil. And it should come at no surprise. If you've been living in this world more than 5 years, you should be able to see that.
just saying you should all be terrified, you men, if you put one.
Of assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual
What is
assault
an
is.
assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young
Feminists don't understand what sexual assault is. I just seen a TikTok where a girl said anybody who talks to her unwanted is sexual assault. Imagine if these people run the world. That means if you say, hey, ma'am, you looking good today. Sexual assault. you, sir, are going to jail. Because we can't diminish what they're doing is diminishing the term, but they don't want to bring the level of sexual assault down. They don't want to act like it's not a big deal, because what they're doing is when you say sexual assault that many times and label everything as sexual assault, it diminishes the power of the word sexual assault, or what you're calling it doesn't mean what you think it is, what most people think it is, and therefore takes away the power of the word. So when people do that, you're making it not that big of a deal. Yeah, I sexually assaulted 3 women yesterday. What? Oh yeah, I just talked to them and they didn't want to talk. That's not what it should mean. But feminists do this type of thing all the time. It's nothing new to them. And that's what happens when you try to redefine language to fit your personal views. Words have meaning, and meanings have power.
Young teenage clumsiness in many cases, which is now being recategorized as assault.
She look at her face. She don't care. Why should she care? It's not her son. It's not nobody. She doesn't care if men die in jail. She doesn't care if people spend prison time for things they didn't do. She don't care, and you can't convince me that she does, because of the stuff you're saying shows you don't have really a care for any type of real justice. This is the thing about when you that far left, is you don't really care about justice. All you care is a redistribution of power. Justice is not justice about righting wrongs, right? Or making somebody pay for what they've done. No, it's about redistribution of power now. So therefore, whether you did right or wrong or not, you're a male, she's a woman, she has the power in every situation. And that's not what justice is about. Because guess what? You can be poor and steal from a rich person and still be wrong because you stole. People in today's society do not understand that at all. You can be poor as dirt, starving on your last meal and steal, and people might understand it, but stealing is still wrong. And you took something that didn't belong to you. No matter how much of a victim you say women are of men, doing what you're doing to men and making everything they do in society as wrong is immoral. Taking power from where it should be and putting it where it shouldn't be is leaving society lopsided.
Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as assault. It's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about it.
I don't agree with that.
That's
But
ridiculous.
Teenage
You know,
We're finally talking about it. We've been talking about
boy
it.
fumbling with
That's not-
teenage
it's not
girl is
really-
not,
not
is
even
not
that.
in most cases assault, is
Do
it?
you remember Aziz Ansari, right? Half the heels
Exactly.
of Me Too, half the heels of Harvey Weinstein, rightly being dragged through the courts, and it should have got way worse than just prison time in my
The reason why he didn't, because he was a leftist that had a lot of leftist friends.
opinion. Aziz Ansari had a consensual relationship with a woman. She felt a bit awkward, and afterwards rescinded consent, and he was lumped in. And
You can't. Here's another thing. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what the laws say. I don't care what anybody wants to change our current laws to. You cannot rescind consent a day later. That's just immoral. That's called lying. You willfully had sex. You laid down. Accept the consequences. You cannot say, I feel bad about it a day later. Any woman who does that is worse than scum to me. Because what it comes down to is I'm dishonest and I don't even want to pay for the thing I deliberately did. That's like saying, you know what? I paid for a meal. But tomorrow, I'm hungry again. What gives? I should get my money back. What? That doesn't make any sense. You already ate the meal.
and he had his
No, I'm
career
with you on that
largely
one.
cancelled.
I'm with
So
you.
then why should men be afraid?
I'm with you on that one. Well, then guess what? You on the wrong side during the argument to be with anybody.
Of that.
Because he didn't touch her without consent, did he?
No, but she
But
rescinded his
how
consent, and
are
she
young
saw
boys
that
supposed to know?
This philosophy of rescinding power, redistributing power, even when it doesn't make logical sense, gives women the idea that they can do things like that. When you say they should be scared, Well, I'll tell you, men aren't scared that they can't go out and sexually assault women. That's not what they're scared of. They are scared that they will go and have a fun night with a woman, and then next morning she will say the man forced her down and took it from her, even though they both know it's not true. That's what men are scared of. Men are scared of being Me Too'd and didn't do anything wrong. Men like me, I have certain principles that I live by. You ain't gonna catch me slipping because I won't go out to eat with a woman. I will not be in a room alone with a woman. And I don't care what people think. You can call me prude. You can say whatever you want to say, but you ain't gonna catch me slipping in that way because I don't trust women. I do not trust women who are not my wife. Now you're going to say, what about your mother? And what? Yes, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm talking about when I'm at a workplace and a girl's like, hey, come in the office and shut the door. No, we can leave that door open. Hey, we're going to have a business meeting, just me and you. We're going to go eat. No, you ain't going to accuse me of nothing. You're not going to make me appear as if I'm doing nothing. Nope. And y'all can say, oh yeah, you scared. You living in the past times. So what? I ain't never been Me Too'd, and it ain't about to happen. Look, I've dealt with women who I've said where because I was the way I am, they weren't able to accuse me, but because somebody else was more liberal with the way they were, they accused them. And I said, thank my lucky stars that they didn't get me, or thank God that other people was around that knew my character. And they wasn't able to do that to me. Because some men is just like, yeah, whatever I can get, man. Yeah, female attention. Yeah, of course I'll go over to eat with her. She's pretty, dude. Yeah, it'd be so cool. I don't have any problem. Yeah, we'll go in the office. I'm not scared of females. And then they get Me Too'd. Whether they did it or not, they getting Me Too'd. And men should be scared of that. Because of women like this who don't see the importance of it. And they don't have to fear it because they don't never have to deal with it. Like she could say, the comment at the beginning of the conversation. And your outfit is nice, by the way. She said something like that. Imagine if it was said the other way. What? Are you calling me sexy? Are you making a sexist remark? Are you sexually assaulting me with your words? That could be a totally different way if the sexes were different.
Navigate this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing.
agree.
I'm thinking of my teenage son. You know, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand-
extremely
I mean, come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know
on.
in your house you're teaching them the difference between assault and then coming on
course,
to
of course,
someone.
but
I
what we're
know
talking-
you are.
but
It's the same thing nowadays. Like I said before, there are TikToks up there and even more of them. You can find videos right now of women saying they were sexually assaulted by a man that was just doing a video online. That dude from Minnesota who went to the carnival or whatever, and he was making a joke and he was doing dumb stuff on camera. And then the girl didn't like what he was doing because he was making a joke out of them. He was making them the butt of the joke, and she went and told the police officer she was sexually assaulted. She didn't get in any trouble. This happens every day. Why does she feel that she has the power to do something like that? It's because society has let her know a woman can never be wrong in that situation. And you should always trust her, and far be it from me to doubt it. Because if I doubt it, and she pointed at me and said, you never believed me, and I reported to him, and he didn't do anything, and people were standing there. Far be it from me, because then that's my job next.
What we're talking about is it's been very interesting watching the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, how it's all developed. Because a lot of very bad people, Harvey Weinstein and others, got their due comeuppance. We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
This is not even something to be debated. We're really talking about the grey line, right? Where is that grey line?
Yeah.
How do you navigate it? When you're an experienced adult and you've been around the block in many ways, you can navigate that much more intelligently and with emotional intelligence than you can if you're a teenage boy. And I think the
That's true.
point Isabel makes is a good one. I've had 3 sons in their 20s. I've always taught them to be respectful to women, and I believe they are. But I do think it's really hard for...
To have 3 sons and then have the conversation with Andrew Tate like he did, I feel sorry for those boys, honestly. Because Andrew Tate, that conversation he had with him was like beta male versus alpha male. How did you raise your sons to be?
A 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to
They're all-
start
they are all
having kind of some
terrified.
kind of physical relationship.
Yeah,
with a
they
woman.
are.
Those
They are.
good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there.
That's where the MGTOW movement comes from. I don't like the MGTOW movement because I don't think it's a manly response to run away. I think it's the manly response to try to fix a problem. I even like the Passport Boys idea, Passport Bros or whatever you call them. I like their idea better than MGTOW because at least they're like, okay, we done with Western women, so we're going to go overseas. I don't have any problem with that. But everybody don't have necessarily the money or the funds or the time to do that. But I say if you're going to go overseas to find a wife, I don't think anything is wrong with that. A wife is probably the biggest investment that you can make in your life. So why not invest time and money in it and get a submissive woman? It's nothing wrong with that. And it's funny when people say, you want somebody who's going to bow down to you? You want a submissive woman? Well, do you want an assertive man? Do you want a man who's going to provide? Do you want a man who's going to take care of you? Do you want a man who's taller than you? Do you want a man who makes more money than you? Do you want a man who's charismatic? Do you want a man who knows what he's doing? Do you want a man who's a leader? Do you want a man who knows how to dress? Do you want a man who smells good? Do you want a man who can walk in a room and take control? Do you want a man who kind of knows how you feels and knows how women are? Oh, you don't want those things? Oh, because if you do, those are called standards. And if you have standards, it's not wrong for him to have standards. And if you go somewhere to find a man and dress up real nice, it's not any wrong because the distance is more for a man to go overseas to find something nice. I don't disagree with it at all, especially with the way the West is going.
Is that healthy?
Yes, I think it is actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
But then how do they ever start?
Well, don't. If you're not 100%...
What? So don't. This is... And guess what? People are listening to her advice. Just don't get involved with the modern day woman. That's what a lot of people are saying. Now, I'm not saying that because I think that there's a lot of godly good women that are still out there. And I think there's just as much bad women as there are weak men. I don't think the men are suffering as much from overconfidence as women are. I think they're suffering from being lack of confidence and not being strong enough, especially in their moral character and principles. And I think they're so weak-minded that they get swayed away by any pretty face that comes their way and tells them to do anything. They will bow down to the first girl that shows them attention because they haven't had any female attention in their life. So I think it's a problem with weak men and masculine women.
Sure,
we
don't.
don't.
But to not engage and to say not to engage, okay. What is society going to look like if they follow what you have to say?
A bunch of Newton boys who've never
It's
had...
so obvious.
We actually do
It's
have that.
so
Gen Z is having far less sexual relationships
Yes,
than any
they
ever
are.
before.
It's true.
And
And you would think that's good, like from a Christian standpoint, that's good. But sex in Christianity is not bad. It's the context to which you have it in. I personally believe people should get married younger, that we should prepare our children for marriage younger, that we should get rid of all this dating nonsense and 12-year-olds saying they're having a boyfriend and girlfriend and 13-year-olds going out on a date to a carnival where their mom and dad dropped them off. That stuff leads you into a pit of nonsense. That's what getting little kids to think sexuality is something they should indulge in before they're ready. We should be teaching our kids from the age of teen and up to prepare for marriage. And then we prepare them for marriage. They get married young and they grow together. That's what I think the idealistic way is. But now people are getting married at age 30 when they should be getting married closer to age 18, in my opinion. And honestly, when they get married young, what I think should happen is that and people going to disagree with me on this. I know they going to disagree on this. I think your family should be far more involved than they are. And the reason why dating is so out of control because we took the family out of the decision-making process. So therefore, when young couples get together, what should happen is the mother and the father on both sides are examining the mate that their daughter or son has selected, and he goes through rigorous examination. I'm talking about he's examined by the mother, he's examined by the father, the wife, the soon-to-be wife is examined by the mother, examined by the father, the brothers, the sisters. Then they go up to the church, where it's the deacons, the pastor, the church people, the elders of the church, the older people of the church. And then after that, they go through marriage counseling. And they go through marriage counseling to see if they're even fit. And people are completely, strongly honest with them. And then they get married. Now you say that might not happen as early as 18. Maybe it'll happen at 20, 21. I got married at 22. And I've been married for darn near 16 years. So, like, when people talk about it can't work, it worked for me.
Young people have stopped having sex.
I agree with the first part of your sentence, actually. If you're not willing to have a sexual relationship with clearly defined lines, don't have one. And so I actually told my mates at university, don't sleep around with girls.
I agree. Here's the problem with a lot of the red pill philosophy that tells you to sleep around. Sleeping around sounds fun, but it won't fulfill you. And you won't understand that until you've done it, like Solomon talks about in the book of Proverbs. Ecclesiastes, my fault. When he talks about Ecclesiastes, all is vanity. He's done everything under the sun there is to do, and it didn't fulfill him. Now, some men got to go out there and learn that the hard way. But guess what happens when you learn it the hard way? And what men have to watch out for is not what women have to watch out for. See, women have to watch out for having a kid and being stuck with that kid. And then also having these sexual relationships and not being able to link with a man because they've had so many sexual experiences. Men, what they have to worry out for is a wayward woman, as it talks about in Proverbs, destroying your life. A woman can not only destroy your reputation, she can have a child with you and destroy the rest of your life. Not just for the next 18 years, the rest of your life. She can destroy your reputation. She can make your life a living hell. And she can go out and basically just destroy your life in so many other ways that you can't even consider. There's men who cannot get a job because they slept with the wrong woman. A wrong woman's accusation can throw you in jail. And I'm not just talking about sexual assault. I'm talking about, I've seen women lie on domestic violence. I've seen women lie about, oh, he stole stuff from me when he moved out the house. I've seen women lie on all types of fraud. I've seen women lie and say he's the father and he wasn't. Imagine, that destroys your life right there. Imagine raising a kid till age 6 and you've been there the day of his birth. And then the 6 years invested, and you growing a dad bod now, and you find out that the child is not yours. That will ruin your life. Not only will you never trust a woman again, but you have been severed from the child you thought was your blood. All because you chose to lay with a wayward woman. So laying with a wayward woman can ruin your life, and it often does in more ways than one.
Don't bring a guy home that you don't know what he's capable of. 2, guys, don't bring a girl home if you think that possibly she could have a false accusation against you.
Can I make another point here?
Which I find, I mean, look, that sentence to me, when I was your age, right? How old are you?
23.
23. When I was your age, the idea you would even have that sort of thought process.
Yeah, I
would
wouldn't have those sort of mates that would ever cross.
I wouldn't have those sort of mates. You don't even know until it happens.
So I wouldn't have to have that
I never
conversation
said my
with any
mates.
of my friends.
Don't throw my mates in with a bunch of violent people.
And is there a certain...
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't have those sort of mates. So you didn't have any friends that had sex before marriage? She's smiling like this is so cute to her. I hope she don't have kids. I hope she don't have kids, because one day those kids are going to grow up and do dumb things, and with your thinking, you're going to be like, oh, throw them in jail forever. With your logic, I wouldn't hang out with those sort of mates. Listen, you don't nobody goes out and says, I commit evil. You know what's on the menu tonight, boys? Sexual assault. No. What's happening now is men are scared because the regular situations that used to be normal, a night of fun, you can no longer do that anymore. Now, some will say that's good, but not the way that it's going about, because all they're doing is they still want girls to be just as promiscuous and even more promiscuous than the past. They just want men to pay the price for it.
Is there a certain purity here I'm detecting in a certain type of feminist who thinks that they're all unimpeachable and that this is all one-way traffic? And
they believe that.
Only men can be toxic.
Only men can do anything wrong, according to her mind. Women are infallible. Just like the girl we talked about on Destiny's Stream. Ananisha or whatever. Women can do no wrong. The only wrong that women can do is to not keep doing what they're already doing. That's the only wrong they can do. And this is what these feminists believe. Just talk to them. It is so hard to pin them down. And this is why the manosphere and the philosophy, like people like Kevin Samuels, people like Fresh and Fit have grown so much. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. But and people like Pink Boot Lessons. People like what's the other dude who be spitting all them facts? Dang, what is his name? I don't. You don't come to me. Oh, Poor Man's Podcast. People like him are growing because women have gotten out of control and they think they are infallible. If you talk to them, look at the reason why Kevin Samuels blew up so much is because the women got on there, and I'm telling you right now, before that show, I thought women were a tad bit delusional. Like, okay, every once in a while you come and you run into a woman that says this goofy stuff. I had my friends who I was like, okay, she's delusional. She's a 2 and she thinks she can get a 10. She thinks she can get a millionaire, and that's why she's not married at age 40 with cats and wine. But I thought it was like everyone. But Kevin Samuels exposed that our culture is suffering from a massive amount of delusional women who are not going to settle in their opinion. For an average man, even they are below average women that are bringing 2.5 kids to every relationship. I watched one of Kevin Samuels' things the other day just to remind me of how good his show was, because I used to watch every one. And his show had this like hefty Oompa Loompa looking girl on there. And she was shaped like a lump. And she was talking about, so you saying I gotta settle? And I was like, who in the world are you looking down on? How? And she lied about her weight because she said she was like 160 and she was all about 180 at the least. And it's like, they thought this woman represents our society now, where the women think they are so high and above men, they look down on them and they think they are infallible. They think that when they get with a regular man and being a regular woman that they are settling for you. They think if anything goes wrong that it's your fault. As men, we got to take the power back.
No,
because I've got to enlighten you. I've met quite a few women in my life who are pretty toxic themselves, and I don't see the debate being framed around that at all.
No, but the point is that we're still in a situation where only 5% of rape cases actually even go to trial,
which is ridiculous.
But
that's because, see, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. That's because a lot of people lie and they don't have enough evidence to prove their case, and when it's questioned, and when it goes before detectives, or when it goes before the courtroom, the DAs, the judges, and it's under the tiniest bit of scrutiny, you find out people ain't really saying as much as they thought they were saying. People don't really have as much evidence as they claim they did. People are bringing this stuff saying this and this happened, but then when you hear the other side of the story, 2 and 2 do not add up. That's why it doesn't go. Is because as much as people like to claim it's a rape culture does not exist. Rape culture does not exist. A culture is something where every time you go outside, you can see it. We have a promiscuity culture. We don't have a rape culture. to say that people are not punished for what they do, or that only 5%, it show you how little of them have evidence.
Extreme end of it,
Yeah.
isn't
The
it?
idea-
You're talking
but
about
I'm
rape
talking
here.
about-
David, we can all agree that's wrong. We can all agree that's wrong.
But okay, so even on the extreme end of it, rape doesn't even go to trial. If you're assaulted, and that is life changing.
Yeah.
What happened to Rose McGowan
Yeah.
was with Harvey
I know
Weinstein
Rose well.
was
Yeah, but
life
these are
changing,
extreme
and
things.
she didn't get her comeuppance.
Yeah, but
She
Ava, we
lost
can all
her
agree
career.
about that. Well,
Yeah.
I think what has sent a shudder through all of our spines from your mouth today
From your mouth.
is the line that all young men should be terrified of any
Of
physical
assaulting.
contact.
They want that. This is the goal. This is the way.
Well, no, you didn't say it like
Didn't
that.
say that.
You said basically of starting any physical contact with a
Unless
woman.
you're sure.
Well,
Unless you're sure. How do you know? A woman doesn't even know the mind of a woman. How does a man know? And I mean that with no disrespect, ladies. Listen. Women will sit there, and I've had where a woman is, whether she's going through the time of the month, or her hormones are up and down, or she changing birth control, or it's just some random thing that's going on inside, and men have no idea. We're like, what the heck is going on with her? And then she'll come back the next day and be like, I know I was being a you-know-what. I was just going through something. My hormones were flipping. And you'll be like, you don't even know. You don't even know what was going on with you. I don't even know what was going on. They'll say that. How is a man supposed to weave through that if you can't even weave through it? How? They show, like, it's this meme now that's super true. And it said the difference between sexual assault and a compliment. And it'll have like a Chad looking Tyrone handsome dude saying, hello, baby. And the woman's like, oh. And then they'll have an ugly dude with a lumped up face and he say, hello, baby. And she's like, oh, sexual assault. That's the only difference. And you can't tell me that's a lie, because I've seen interviews on, look at this channel, It's Complicated. They talk about this type of stuff all the time, where they go out to the real world, interview real women, and they will ask them these questions, and women will admit, no, I don't know what the heck to tell a man. I can't even weave through my own minefields. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. It's sad to even expect men to know. We got to know what you think, and we still figuring ourselves out.
How does a 16,
How
17
can you
boy
show
know?
when she can rescind consent on something completely nebulous?
Right.
Okay, can I ask you this? If you were going to take someone to bed and you weren't 100% sure that they wanted to go to bed,
You can't be 100% sure. That's the... Let me give her some game about game. You know how a dude has a good game? Do you know how a dude has good game? Because he can take a girl from 20% to 80%. And then by the time she get to the bedroom, it's 100%. I will say it again. He can take a girl from 20% to 80%, and then by the time she get to the bedroom, is 100%. He doesn't know before he gets to the bedroom that it's 100% go. Women don't even work like that. There's all types of sayings that let you know they don't. Women are turned on like a oven. Men are turned on like a light switch. It means it takes time for it to rise. You don't know 100% what's going to happen. You're working towards something. For you to be like, you have to know 100% before you get to the bedroom. No, that's not even how sex even happens. A lot of times you go and you're playing around, and then it escalates and it escalates and it escalates. And yes, the man wants it to escalate, and yes, that's what he's aiming for. But a lot of times if you ask the girl, she'll be like, I wasn't really attracted to him at first, but it kind of grew on me, and then he was kissing on my neck and I liked it, and then blah, blah. And that's life. That's how it works. Imagine stopping and asking a girl before you go upstairs, tell me if this ain't a mood killer. Stop. Are you 100% ready for what I'm about to do? Are you 100% ready? You can't be 99. That 1% is going to stop my dingling from dingle doing what a dingle does. Is what type of mood killer... Do you give me consent to touch your hand? I'm working my way up to your shoulder now. Do I have consent to touch your shoulder? I'm working my way to your boobie. Is that what y'all want? Is that really what they want? Let's just be honest, because no girl likes that. Nobody likes that. But y'all want to pretend because it gives you power, and then when you get your power, you don't like. And that's why so many women out there complaining about, where are all the good men gone? You scared them away and making them into beta males. That's what you did.
With you, would you go for
No,
them?
I would not do that.
Then
But the
that's what
point
I'm
was,
talking
Aziz
about.
Ansari was sure, for example, and then later she went and
And
published
then he
a long
wasn't.
piece
Right.
about how she regretted it.
And he's a liberal, by the way. But I still don't think that what happened to him was right.
Lumped him in with Harvey Weinstein.
I mean,
Is that okay?
Ava, we-
Ava, do you
we-
feel any of it, Ava's gone too far? Do you think the pendulum has gone too far at all?
No, I don't.
Look, I knew what she was going to say. No, they will never concede. They will never give any grounds. And this is how you know somebody is unhinged. This is how you know someone is unhinged. When they can't concede to anything. In fact, when me and my brother and my friends, we talk about politics, we would talk about, even though we're super, super conservative, we would talk about what Republicans do wrong, we would talk about what liberals do wrong, we would talk about the Democratic Party, we would talk about the Republican Party, we would talk about moderates, we would talk about each candidate, we would talk about what the candidates we like and what they could have did better during debates, we would talk about the candidates we don't like and what they did good during debates. We talk about all that, but you know somebody's unhinged when they say, I like Biden and I don't care what you think. Everything he says is right. Nothing he did is wrong. The Democrat Party is the future. Nothing they can improve on. Everything they do is right. No, that is not a person that has a logical way of thinking. You can't concede to anything. We haven't gone too far at all. With the stories that the young man even presented to you. Nothing you said or nothing he said gave off the vibe of, okay, maybe that was a little bit too much. That's how you know you're unhinged, and nothing you say should be listened to. We should bring somebody else up here that has a logical mindset.
I don't think it's gone far enough, actually.
Really?
I don't think we've brought anything into schools. To your point, we haven't brought any teaching into school about what is assault, what isn't. If you're worried,
That's not what school is for. Oftentimes you will see the left. They want school to take the parents' role. It is not the school's role to tell you what assault is. It is your parents' role to sit you down and say, nobody should touch you or talk to you or get you alone like this. That's your parents' role. There's plenty of teachers who would love to mistreat students. You gonna trust them? Trust the parents who care about those kids to teach them the difference between what is assault and what's not. Y'all put way too much trust in these teachers. And I'm not saying it's bad. All teachers are bad. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the same way that we should not trust government is the same way we need to give power back to the parents and hold the parents responsible for what the kids learn.
about like 16-year-old boys not understanding what it is, bring in sexual health lessons.
Hang on.
No, we don't need sexual health lessons. Are you crazy? You want teachers telling... We got teachers now that are bringing dildos into class and telling students this is how you insert the penis into your vagina. And then taking a condom off and putting it on the sex toy in front of little kids. And that's the people you want to trust. No, some of these people have agendas. This is why it's always better for the parents to be involved. You can't trust other people with your kids.
The idea that you can teach rapists not to rape is insane because they already know
That's correct.
What do you mean?
that it's a big.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Do you not realize there's another fallacy that we have been taught, that education is the answer to everything. That if you would have just educated an evil man, he wouldn't do evil. No. You can tell everyone knows not to steal. Guess what? We still got thieves. Everyone knows they don't like to be punched. Every single person has been hurt in some way by the age of 15 by somebody else, and they didn't like or appreciate, and it hurt and it made them feel discomfort when that person did what they did to them. And guess what? You will still have grown adults hurting each other. They know it's wrong. Teaching them and educating them will not change the heart. The heart can only be changed by God or a sense of moral character, because you can have a sense of moral character and principles without being a Christian, absolutely. But guess what? You're not going to change somebody's moral character or principles with education. It doesn't work like that. That you're just going to sit down a rapist and then, oh, you know what? I didn't know that was wrong. I'm so sorry. I did a couple of work papers that showed me and gave me a diagram, anatomy, and now I know it's wrong. No, it doesn't work like that. People are evil, and they're going to continue being evil. You need to prepare for an evil world. Tell people that with their kids. I tell people this all the time. Stop not preparing your kids for the evil world that's out there. The world is getting more and more evil. When you try to shield them away from everything, they're not going to be prepared for the evil, because these other kids that are completely growing up in messed up houses will not hesitate to do evil things to your children. So you got to teach your children things like self-defense. You got to teach your children things like morality and how to debate, because the world, as soon as they step outside, will bombard them.
Okay, right. You're saying if boys wouldn't know what's assault and what isn't.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The idea that rather than taking the power out of someone who can make a false accusation is what they're actually, most of them are concerned about. Specifically, my friends, for example, who would never dream of doing something like that. But then what the feminists fail to understand is you can educate
The
evils.
feminists.
Did you not identify yourself as a feminist earlier?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, okay,
Piers,
so,
Well, you should, because you sound just like one.
sorry, Piers,
You're not
so then
feminist.
that's...
well, Piers labelled me.
Actually, I
as
called you a
that.
toxic feminist.
Okay,
I'll take that.
Yeah, of course.
Fair enough. But you cannot, if a rapist is willing to violate the law so violently, you cannot teach him out of that. All you can have is very harsh punishments to deter
No, because
that.
That's correct. What I just said, didn't I? He said what I just said. You cannot out-teach people's evil. There's always going to be someone who is evil and someone who does something wrong, despite what they know. Evil is not done for lack of knowledge. Oh, I didn't know that punching that dude would make him feel pain and break his nose. I didn't know that slicing that dude in the eye with a knife would cause him to be blind. If only someone would have taught me, then I wouldn't have done the evil.
We're talking about the grey line, and the grey line is at parties of not understanding that when a woman is so inebriated that she can't stand up, boys need to understand that is
Well,
no.
that's a different.
Why is it just boys? I've seen girls take advantage of boys in that. I've been to bars where girls are the ones holding up the dude and kissing him, and he's passed out drunk. Oh man, I wasted. And a girl just come up and start kissing the dude. Tongue all in his mouth. Ugh. And you be like, oh, alcohol, breath, nasty booty boy. You don't look. This is what happens. What about the girls who do it? Why is it always boys who are the perpetrators and women who are the victims? Both can get drunk, right? Didn't you see what happened to Drake? That girl tried to take advantage of Drake by taking a used condom and reusing it, if you know what I mean. And he had put hot sauce in it, which is kind of gross in my opinion. Why didn't you just flush it down the toilet? But that's what he did, and she tried to sue him for that. In my opinion, that is a form of essay of a man. Trying to take a man's physical property to use it for your own financial gain. We should teach men about this.
Different
Now
line.
you're bringing in
Different
something
line.
else. Ava, I would like
Yeah.
to know whether you
We should teach women about that.
accept that women, and particularly teenage girls and young women, sometimes give out pretty mixed signals. They give out mixed messages. They're not even sure what they want at any given time.
True.
I think we're victim blaming.
I don't think
I
that's
think
victim
we're- I think
blaming.
we're-
I think we're victim blaming. You see the cockiness of these people? I think we're victim blaming. End of conversation. I win. Check. 1 point for me. No, it's not. That's a stupid thing to say. People say the word victim blaming, and they think that what it does for them is alleviate all responsibility. So they have this argument that a woman could go out with a sign that says free sex. Let's not even make it a sign. Say she painted free sex on her chest. She goes out with butt naked, no clothes on whatsoever. She goes into the most dangerous part of the hood and something happens to her. These feminists will come out and say, stop victim blaming her. It doesn't matter that she was naked in the worst part of this hood with the most amount of essays. It doesn't matter. That shouldn't have happened. And the part that they got right is it should not happen. But to do stuff like that and put yourself in such a stupid situation, we have to acknowledge that that is stupid and that there are better ways to protect yourself. If a woman was to do that, we should say, you know what, let's punish that dude. And I personally believe if a dude takes advantage of a woman sexually, he should be. But guess what? If a woman is walking butt naked with a sign that says, have a fun time, boys, written on each butt cheek, we have to ask, why were you so stupid to put yourself in that situation? And people don't want to ask that. That's victim blaming to them. Now you can say, there's never been a situation that crazy. I'm telling you right now, I have seen women in crowded clubs in the middle of the hood in a fishnet suit that was see-through. And underneath it is a thong. And I'll be looking like, where's your father at? Now, does anything deserve to happen to that woman? Absolutely not. But why would you wear that and expect any type of good attention? And even if you did attract a good male, you would have to ask, why in the world would a good male be attracted to that? Why? No good man will be attracted to that. Because even if you was the most beautiful woman on the planet, why would he even be attracted to a woman who's presenting herself like that? And if something were to happen, it's not victim blaming to ask, what the heck were you doing out there like that? Didn't your mother teach you any better than that? That's not victim blaming, that's common sense.
Come off
So
it.
do you
I think we are
accept?
straying into a
Come off
point.
it. Every sinew of your body knows what she just said.
Do you
has a
accept
merit
women
to it.
can sometimes
So
give
women
off?
Look, she don't want to accept it. Look at her face.
Maybe
Mixed
Come on.
messages. Come on, they
Look,
can.
I mean, sure, but I'm not.
Look at her face. You can see the piousness, if that's a word. The pride, the arrogance, the haughty look in her face.
No, I won't agree. I don't care what you say. No. Let me in a no, yeah. Let me in a yeah.
Non-denial.
But I'm sure,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about assault.
So how are you
Yeah, but
supposed
I
to?
don't think any of us disagree about assault. We're talking about the far greyer line of young teenage fumbling.
And there is gray. Don't be fooled. There is gray in this.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they've all stopped having sex, it's because they are actually terrified. And I think it's a great shame if they're terrified into actually having no physical interaction with opposite
Exactly
sex.
that. And then the
How do
other
we get
point,
past
can I
that?
make one other point, which is this whole thing of dredging up allegations that are 10 or 20 years old.
Is stupid. Is stupid. Even if it did happen. Let me say this. And some people gonna sit there and not try to act like they don't understand what I'm saying. Even if it did happen, you as a woman have an obligation to report it to the police. Because if this dude is as evil as you say, and he took advantage as you said, what do you think is gonna happen if you don't report it? He's gonna go and do it to another woman. If you don't care about yourself, at least care about the other women. So for these women who reported it 10 years later, it was an evil thing they did, a disservice to other women that this man got. The Harvey Weinsteins out there who are feeling on themselves in front of women and doing all this goofy stuff. And then have the audacity to grandstand and believe all this liberal nonsense. But that's beside the point. Did all this goofy stuff in front of women? He should have been prosecuted the first time. But women did not come forward, and they came forward when? 10 years later when they saw a movement they could benefit from it. And don't be scared. Do not be fooled. They financially benefited from this movement. Yes, they did. They got on billboard signs. They got in magazines. They got interviews. Some of them even got lawsuits won. Some of them even got more movie roles. Some of them were the face of certain movements. Come on now. Yes, they financially benefited from it. So let's not pretend like there was no gain in it coming out 10 years later. Let's not pretend like everybody who has something to say 10, 15, 20 years later is automatically truthful. And let's not pretend as if your memory 20 years ago is just as solid as if it happened 5 minutes ago. Some of these women admitted they was on drugs at the time. And you telling me your memory 20 years ago while you was on drugs is good enough to tell me everything this man did to you? Some of this is just nonsense, and we just got to call a lie a lie.
I think is absolutely awful.
Why?
Because it's a he said, she said. It's
Isabel,
impossible to
why?
prove. And
Why?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I would love to see somebody do it to her. I would love to see, and you know what? It'd be good if it was a woman, too. Say a woman comes out and be like, you know what? This woman sexually abused me. This woman over here. And she could say, I don't even swing that way. It doesn't matter. A woman comes out, a young woman comes out and say, this woman over here sexually abused me. We were in the office alone. It was just us two. She said something. She started touching me, blah, blah, blah. And it'd be a dead lie. And it happened 15 years ago. You would feel stupid. You would feel really stupid because you know, how am I supposed to disprove this? What am I supposed to go on if let's say you never even met that person that's accusing you? How do you prove you never met him? It was 15 years ago. Do you remember every person you ever came across 15 years ago? That's why it's not fair.
there are people whose careers and their lives are completely
not real.
ruined by allegations that are brought a decade or more
Yes.
after the event. Now, obviously, if the person was a minor at the time of the incident, or the alleged incident,
I
then
can't believe you're
fine.
saying this.
There's-
I can't believe you're saying it. It needs to be said, lady. Listen, it's called logic.
We
shouldn't be
shouldn't
as-
bring up historic assault claims.
I
That's
don't think-
absolutely
I don't think
crazy.
you should be bringing-
Women who
I
would have
don't-
been too afraid to confront it at the time
Stop being afraid.
because
Why?
they were too young or too powerless.
I
to
said-
bring-
No, it's not. What? I hate when they do this. You can't have two things be truthful. And this is what feminists do, and it's always a lie. They, on one hand, say women are powerful. Women are just as strong as men. Women are brave. Women are courageous. Let's make more movies starring women. Women are more courageous than men. They're stronger than women. They can everything they can do, we can do better. Do they not just say this? But then in the same breath, they will say, she was too scared to come forward. You can't have it both ways. Either you're the weaker sex or you're the stronger sex. And if you're the stronger one, what are you scared of if you're so strong? If you're so strong, you're so brave, you're so independent, you can do everything a man can do. You don't need no man. Every CEO position should just be your position. All this different nonsense that the feminists say. How in the same breath can you be so weak, so scared, so fragile that it take you 10 years to come up with an accusation? How?
bring it up in
I
the
said
first
about-
place.
See, I would actually side slightly with over here in the sense I don't have a problem with historic crimes. For example, Harvey Weinstein, they're all
gotta be a
historic.
cut-off.
Yeah, but
It was still stupid, though. Here's the thing. Harvey Weinstein's situation was stupid because the women used what he did for their own financial gain. Let me explain. The women they outright said that he was offering all types of movie star roles in his movies if he in return for sexual favors and all types of goofy stuff he was doing. They took those roles. Oh yes, they took those roles. Every woman that was accusing him didn't say no. Every single one was like, "Yo, I'm gonna take that role. I'm gonna need Harvey. Do what you gotta do because I really need this role." Now it would be so much better if they said this is how it should go. It should be, Oh, Harvey Weinstein says, hey, come into my dressing room. I'm going to need you to do this if you want that role. Absolutely not, and I'm reporting you right now. I don't play that. That's what strong, independent people would do. I don't need your movie role, and it's not worth my character, and I take offense to you even calling me in here like I'm some modern-day whore. That's what a strong, independent woman would do. Now, what did they do? Okay, Harvey, I guess. And then they got that movie role, and then 20 years after they benefited and their whole career has benefited from that movie role, then they want to go back. That's not the same.
But, yeah, but, well, has there actually? For someone like Harvey, Weinstein, should there be a counterpoint, or should the victims who are all bullied and scared
I think it
to come
depends
forward, right?
I think it depends on the severity of the allegation. Obviously, if it's something,
Right.
it's a rape case or something. But if it is he put his
All right,
hands
Jen,
on my knee.
You're talking about
He put his head, and it's a lot of stuff coming out like that. Not necessarily about Harvey Weinstein, but women are coming and saying, I was essayed. And then you ask him more questions, and he blew a kiss in my direction. Okay.
about the journalist movement.
I'm
The
basically-
journalists that bravely came forward and told about how cabinet ministers had touched them inappropriately on
them.
the
Yeah.
knee, which was
I'm
horrendous.
not
Yes.
bothered about touching on a knee. I mean, 20 years
That's
later?
nonsense. Let's not belittle what real victims of these things have gone through. There's even state statutes that will dictate what is sexual assault. It's not putting a hand on your knee. That may be inappropriate, you are right. But is it sexual assault? No.
Yes, but
Someone should be
she
dragged
exposed.
through.
Placing a hand on somebody's knee is not sexual assault. If you don't like the hand being placed, remove that person's hand. And this is what I would teach my daughter. Some man is getting too frisky with you and he putting his hand around your shoulder and around your waist. It's not necessarily sexual assault, but it definitely is inappropriate. And you have a right to say, get off me now. You have a right to say that. And you teach your daughters that. And guess what? If he doesn't, then you start screaming, you start biting, you start kicking, you start clawing at his eyes, and you go to the nearest man and you tell him he is trying to sexually assault me. And guess what? This is how good our society is. Every man will come to your aid. Very few, well, with all the beta males, maybe they won't. With all the liberals, maybe the liberal dudes won't. But guess what? If you around even one dude out of 10, he gonna come and be like, hey, get away from that woman. Any man with some nuts, any man with some balls will be like, get away from that woman. Hey, yo, just stand back, dude. Even the weakest dude will be like, yo, Jade, she's accusing you of this, dude. Can you just stand back and let her go this way? That's what usually happens because our society is not as bad as these feminists want you to believe. What woman who's in the midst of a crowd or a place where there's other people can't yell out and scream for help and men won't come? Now, there is a couple instances where I saw like in New York where some girl was getting beat up or something like that and the men didn't step in. And I thought that was very cowardly of them. And then some people have a counter argument that I kind of hear too. And that's like, can you blame them with all this feminist stuff going on? You help a woman and you darned if you do, darned if you don't.
Through the
The
courts for
entire
that.
sexual harassment culture that is in Westminster and is still really pervasive at the moment.
Well, the good thing is we've all reached complete agreement after 5 years of the Me Too movement. But it's interesting, isn't it? So we've got lots of different views here. It is complicated, I think. And I would argue, but maybe a man shouldn't argue this at all, but I would argue the pendulum may have swung a little too far.
It's
you don't
too
think it's
far.
swung far enough. You probably
Thanks
are
to
on my
Piers.
side. You probably are too. But I'm not sure we should really be taking sides either. It's a complex minefield. And I think that when you start using phrases like you should be terrified, nobody should be terrified on any side of this, I don't think. Would
Not
be where
unless
I'd
they
pull
have
you up on
criminal intent. That's
that. But good debate. Thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
I suppose, Pierce. I suppose. You know I don't like you. And one day I'll be famous enough to tell that to his face, hopefully. But it's like, let me keep this large in case somebody... I don't... There's so much to be said about this topic. because when you discuss, and I'm kind of glad I'm not that big yet, because I can still discuss anything I want to discuss. Andrew Tate can't talk about certain things when he was on YouTube platform because they would shut him down for saying any wrong thing that they could take out of context, and they can still do that to me now. But one of the benefits that I have of being a super small channel with not many viewers is be able to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Now, hopefully we do grow. And I would like to get my lives to at least 100 viewers in the next month. 100 viewers per live. I mean, I think that's a good amount. I would love to grow my lives, and I would love to talk about more of these topics. And hopefully in the future, we can get into what people recommend that I talk to instead of me selecting just the things that I'm interested in, because I'm curious to see what type of audience will actually grow so that we can discuss. And maybe one day I'll get the chat to work, since I don't know what I'm doing on YouTube yet. But that was a good discussion, I guess. Pierce wasn't as unbearable as he usually is, so we can give him that, and I thought they made a couple of good points. I'll see you guys next time.